Hey YouTubians, it's Tony here from We Try Anything. Channel likes try anything, so you don't have to. Today's video is going to be a tutorial video about the CASIO A160 watch that we got featured here, which has a module number of 3319. Now in the description box below there is the instructions that I've linked to, which will take you off to the CASIO website for this watch, and there's also time codes for this video. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is what would be the pushers on this watch. So what you have 4 pushers with 2 each side, so you got 2 to the left and 2 to the right, and they each do certain things in different modes and stuff like that. But in this instance, what I'm just going to quickly say is that the top left hand button tends to be the adjust button. The bottom left is the mode, so you can just quickly cycle through the modes that I'm just showing you here. The top right is your light button, which I shall show you later, and the bottom right does certain things like start the stopwatch and stuff like that. But in this instance, what I'll just quickly show you is that with that bottom right hand button, what you can do is change on the timekeeping mode, which is just the main time screen on the digital display behind what would be the analog hands. If you've got it on timekeeping mode, you can just press it and you can change it to the day of the week, or you press it one more time and it'll change to the date that you got the watch set for. Now, just to mention the top right hand button, I might as well just show you the light. So if I'm just pressing the light here, and as you can see in the studio lights it's not very good, but to the right you can see it illuminating the display quite nicely. Now the only thing is my camera is picking it up a lot better than what you can see in real life. Now this watch does have a auto light as well, so if I just keep my finger pressed, what you'll see is a little icon's just appeared there, and every time you flick your wrist you don't have to press the light button anymore. It will allow you to activate the background light into this watch, or the backlight. So just a few more flicks of the wrist so you can see it working, and as you can see in the video on the right, that's how it works. And then you just press it again just for a couple of seconds and it'll turn off. And the other thing to mention about the backlighting on this watch is that it does have a 3-second illumination delay, as well as a 1.5, which is what this is currently set on, and which I'll show you that in the adjustment phase, which I shall talk about in a minute. So the next thing to talk about and what we've got here is what will be the LCD digital display, and above that what you have got is the twin handset of the analog part of the watch. So what you've got pointing towards the 5 o'clock position will be the hour hands, and towards what will be the 10 o'clock position you have the minutes hands on this watch. Now behind that what you have, I've got it currently on time keeping mode, which is the main local time that you will have this watch on for most of the time. And at the top, as I quickly explained, you've got what will be the date, and also you can change that to the day, but that also changes depending on the mode you're in. So for example, it's showing you what will be the city that I've got it set to in world time, which I'll talk about later. And you've got the timer, stopwatch, and the alarms, and the handset mode again, which I shall show you in a minute. And that is back to timekeeping mode, so that does change depending on the mode you're in. Underneath that you can see it says DST and P. The DST stands for daylight saving time, which I've got turned on at this minute because we are in the summertime in the UK. Underneath that you've got the P, indicating that you're in the 12-hour mode, and it is 4:50 p.m. Now when you're in an AM scenario or you're in the morning, that won't show. Also it won't show when you're in the 24-hour mode, because this watch does allow you to change between 12-hour, 24-hour mode, or military time as it's known in the USA, so that P will not illuminate. And underneath that what you do have is what will be the graphic display here. Now for the graphic display it does measure what will be, or indicate seconds on the main timekeeping mode, so it'll be seconds here. In the world time it shows you as seconds as well. What will be in the countdown timer, it will indicate what will be minutes. Stopwatch, the time, it will be seconds. For the alarm and the handset mode there is no indication, so as you can see it goes up and down depending on the amount of seconds in the minute on here. And just to the right of that you've got the seconds indicator there, and that's the digital display and the analog hands on this watch. So the next thing I'm going to show you how to operate will be adjusting the date and time on this watch. And to do that, what you do, you just keep your finger on the adjustment button to the top left hand corner, and what you'll notice is that the seconds start flashing, and you can reset the seconds just by pressing the bottom right hand corner. Now if I allow that to go over 30 seconds and I press that button, what will happen is the seconds will reset and the minute value will go up by 1. But if I'm just pressing it under the 30 seconds, all I'm doing is just resetting the seconds. Now to move it along to the next adjustment that I wish to undertake, so what you can see here is the DST. Let me just zoom in a little. The DST is flashing as are the letters ON. Now that means I've got daylight saving time on, but I can turn it off by pressing that button while it's flashing. And as you can see, the hours have gone back. It's gone back an hour because we've come out of daylight saving time. But in the UK, as we're still observing daylight saving time, I'm just going to turn it back on. As you can see, it's gone up by an hour and the on wording has been featured. To move it on to the next one, you can change the city that you wish for the local time to be in. And it's important doing that first, because world time, which is a function on this watch, which I believe is the next function when you press the mode button, it bases all the other times on whatever you set your local city time to. So if you're in New York, I would change that to NYC and just set it to your local time depending on what the time is in New York, and then all the other world times will display the correct times as you start to scroll through them. So just bear that in mind. Make sure you set it to your local time, and in this instance, as we are in the UK, I'm setting it to London. Now the next one is what will be the hours. So I'll just quickly show you. I'll just go back to London. I'll just quickly show you how to adjust it. I forgot to show you how to do that. And all you got to do is just press backwards if you want to go backwards, and then if you want to go forward, you just press the button here, and I'll just pop it back to London. And I'll just quickly show you, you've got Paris and Cairo and stuff like that, but I'm going to pop it back to London by pressing the top. The next one is the hour. So at the minute it is 10:54 in the morning. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to go backwards because it's probably a bit quicker. So let's go back to 10. So as you can see, we're in the morning and the P has disappeared, and it's gone up to 55. So I'm going to move it across one, and I'm going to press the button to advance it to what will be 10:55. Now the seconds are going to be a little bit out in this part. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to move it backwards, and then we're closer to what would be the local time here in the UK. I'm going to move it on one more time, so I want to change it to 24 hour. And you can easily do that by just pressing that bottom right hand button, so now it displays 24 hours as opposed to what would be 12 hours. If you want to pop it back to 12 hours, as long as that's flashing, you can pop it back to where it says 12H. The next one is the year. So again, you can go backwards depending on the year that we're currently in, that you're looking to change your watch to. So in this instance, 2023. And again, you can do the same with the month, the same with what would be the date within the month, or the day within the month. And then what you can then do, if you advance it on, you can change the light duration. So what I've got indicated here, as you can see it flashing, it means it's the 1.5 second duration. But if I press the button, it's the 3 second, indicated by a larger icon there. If I want to put it back to 1.5 seconds, you can easily do so. And then pressing it again, you go back to the seconds. Now the one thing also to mention is, if you're at any part of the adjustment phase, you can just easily come out of it by just pressing the adjust button at the top left hand corner. While we're at it, what I'm going to show you how to do, I've shown you how to adjust the time on this watch in terms of the digital display. So the next thing I'm going to show you how to do is to adjust the hourly hands, and I'm going to make them synchronize with the time on the LCD display. Now the other thing I will say is that it doesn't do it automatically. It's something you've got to kind of just do yourself really. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to quickly go to what would be, it says H set at the top, and that stands for hand setting mode. Now while you're on that, you can see the local time is featured there. What I'm going to do, I'm just going to keep my finger pressed on the adjust button, top left hand corner, and then what you can do is you can advance the hand by, say, I believe it's half a minute as you keep pressing the button. But what I want to do, I want to spin around the dial, so you can do it one of two ways really. So the bottom right hand button will allow you to just start the minute hand just spinning around the dial, but if it starts to hurt your finger, there is a way of doing it, so you can just release it and let the watch do it itself until you get nearer the time that you're looking to set it to. So again, press the button and then press that a little. Just press that, just once while you got the button pressed. And as you can see, the hand is spinning around the dial by itself. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to quickly speed up the video once we get to what would be nearly 11 o'clock on this watch. So as we're coming up to the 11 o'clock part, I'm going to press this button just to stop the time advancing by itself. And then what I'm going to do, I'm just going to advance it myself just so it's a bit more accurate. So just move it across a little, so we'll get it to what would be 11:02, which is just about there. And let's see if I can just get it to as close to that time as possible. As I say, it won't do it itself. It's a thing that you've got to do all by yourself really. There is watches that will allow you to do that, but in this instance it has to be done by you. And I just press the adjustment button again to stop the adjustment, and there you go, it's now set to 11:03, as is the local time here in the UK. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to move to the press the mode button, and that takes me to world time. Now world time, you will see, for example, I've got it set to New York City, and if you want to start advancing to other cities around the world, depending on who you, say for example, if you're communicating with a loved one or a business associate in another part of the world, you can scroll through what would be 27 cities and 29 time zones on this watch. So to scroll through them, all you got to do is just press the bottom right hand button. I don't believe you can go backward in this instance, but you can just go forward, and as you can see, that's Greenwich Mean Time, London, Paris, etc. And I'm just going to go back to what would be New York. Now the one thing to say is that you can, and let me just get back to New York so I don't miss it, there's quite a few here. That's Los Angeles, New York City, and there we go, we've got it set to New York City. Now if New York City is honouring what would be daylight saving time, if they do actually do that, you just press the top left hand button for a couple of seconds, and there you can see you can turn the daylight saving time on. If you want to turn it back off, if they're not honouring it, and they're just honouring standard time, then you can turn it back off. Now that doesn't affect any other times within world time, and I don't believe it will affect the what would be the local time in this watch, because obviously daylight saving time is still on, as you can see here. So I'll just pop it back to New York City. So again, if you want to turn the daylight saving time on, just press it for a couple of seconds, the top left hand button. If you want to turn it off, just press it for a couple of seconds, and that's it really. That's how you operate the world time on this watch. So the next mode I'm going to talk about on this watch is going to be countdown timer alarm. Now from the main timekeeping mode that you've got here, or the local time on your watch, you just press the bottom button, left hand button twice, which is the mode button, and that will take it to where it says TMR, which stands for timer. And obviously I've got it set to what would be 5 minutes. Now it can go up to 60 minutes on this watch, but what I've got is currently set to 5 minutes. Now what I want to do is just show you how to just quickly start and stop the timer and then reset it. So if I just press that button down the bottom right hand corner, as you can see, I've started the countdown timer. Now once it gets down to 0, it will start to beep to say that the time has elapsed. Now if I want to just stop it or pause it, I'll just press that button again, and if I want to just resume it, you just press it one more time, and as you can see, the seconds are going down. Now if I just press it one more time and just press the top left hand button, that resets it to whatever you had set the timer to originally. Now if I want to set my own time on this timer to say what would be, let's say 10 minutes, I just keep my finger on the adjust button at the top left hand corner and just move what would be the timers. Now you can go up and down like you can do with the timekeeping mode, so you can just go down if you want to just do it in 2 minutes, 1 minute, etc. And if I wanted to go to say 10 minutes, I can just easily do so. So let's go up to 10 minutes. So if I just wanted to do it for 10 minutes, then just press the adjust button to stop it, and then again start. You can start to see counting down from 10 minutes, just press that again, stop, and then reset it to whatever I put it to, or whatever I've originally set it to. Now this watch will also take into account, or you can set it up to do auto repeat. So what will happen is every time it counts down 10 minutes, it will start again. So if I want to do that, I can easily do it via the adjustment button. And also it has what's known as a progress beeper. Now what that means is starting from, I'm just reading from the instructions here just so you know exactly what it does. Starting from the 5 minutes before the end of the countdown, the watch emits 4 short beeps at the top of every countdown minute, and then 30 seconds before the end of the countdown, the watch will emit 4 short beeps, and then a short beep at each of the last 10 seconds of the countdown, and then once it's obviously counted down, it will start to beep to say that the time has elapsed. Now you can set all that up by just keeping your finger on the adjust button again, like I've shown you how to set the countdown timer, and just move it along. Now that arrow indicates that it's just going to count once, emit a beep, and then stop. But if I press this button here while that arrow is flashing, that means that auto repeat has been activated, and then I can just press the adjust button there just to come out of it, and then every time the 10 minutes will count down to 0, it will just start again. So again, just press the adjust button just to get through to that part. So if I just want to move it along to what would be the auto repeat, and if I want to turn that off, I've just got the arrow, which means it'll just do it once. Now if I want to turn on what would be that countdown progress beeper, as you can see, I've currently got it in the off position, but if I want to put it on, then as I say, it will indicate towards after 5 minutes, or before, you know, when the 5 minutes go to 0. So it should beep on the minute for 4 minutes, 3 minutes, 2 minutes, and then obviously it'll give you a beep at 30 seconds, then obviously a beep at 0 seconds. So if I want to turn it on, it's easily done by pressing that. If I want to turn it off, then you can easily do so on this watch, and then just press the adjust button again to come out of it. Now the next mode to show you from the timekeeping screen will be the stopwatch. Now pressing the mode button a couple more times will get you to the stopwatch, which is indicated by STW. Now what you've got here is obviously you've got the minutes, the seconds and the hundredth of a second just listed below. Now to operate the stopwatch you just press these two buttons. Well, you don't press them simultaneously, but these two buttons will help you operate the stopwatch. So to do what would be just an elapsed time, you just press the bottom right hand button here, and as you can see the hundreds of seconds are going up, as are the seconds here. So if I want to stop it, I can easily do so by pressing that button again, and as I mentioned, this button will allow you to reset it. Now to do a split time, you just start the stopwatch. As you can see the seconds are going up, and then you press this button to the top left hand corner, and what you'll see is the letters SPO. That means that's a split time's been just shown here. Now if you want to just release the split time, what you'll notice is that the stopwatch is still counting an elapsed time, as you can see by an apostrophe flashing there, and if I just press it to release it, as you can see the time has jumped up because it is still measuring an elapsed time even though you're featuring what would be a split time. So again, just to stop it and then reset it, it's as easy as that. Now this watch will allow you to do what would be 2 finishes, and you can do it very easily, and that is by say for example you've got 2 runners in a race. It's an example I use for a lot of the watches that I show with 2 finishes. 2 runners in a race, and what I'm going to just mention is the first finish and then the second finish. So the 2 runners start running, and then the first one does it in a super quick time of say 4 or 5 seconds. So I just press what would be the split time, and that would be the first runner's finish. Now the second runner's not far behind them, and what you want to do is as they coming through the finish line, you just press stop and then press the top left hand corner to release the split, and then that will be the second runner's finish time. So that will be the second finish time in essence, and then you just press reset again. So the final mode I'm going to talk about on this watch is what's known as the alarm mode. Now this watch has 5 independent alarms, and it can be accessed by just pressing the mode button a couple of times until you get to where it says AL1, or it could be AL2, 3, 4 or SIG, etc. That means you're on the alarm mode. Now here, as I've mentioned, you've got the 5 independent alarms. So if you just want to cycle through them, you can do so by pressing that button there. So that's alarm 4, and then you've got the alarm with the snooze option there, and then you've got the ALE signal that you can turn off and on here. Now just to turn on and off the alarms, say for example you want to turn on the alarm mode, or what would be alarm 1, and you just want to turn it on, you just press the top left hand button. What you'll see is ALMB highlighted there, just indicate you're in alarm or the alarm is activated, and then it will say on there. And then again, if you want to turn on alarm 2, alarm 3, alarm 4, turn on the snooze and alarm 5, and again if you want to turn on the ALE signal, you can do so as easy as that. And as you can see, all the alarms are turned on, or they are all activated. And again, if you want to just turn them off, you can easily do so just by pressing that button there as you're going through the alarms, and again alarm and snooze, and again the ALE signal, which is highlighted by the SIG, you can easily do so by cycling through the alarms and pressing that button there to turn them off and on. Now if you want to adjust an alarm, so for example I want to adjust it to say 7:30 in the morning, I can easily do so in any of the independent alarms, but in this instance I'm going to do it in alarm 1. Now as soon as you press that adjustment button, you will notice that it is now activated, so just bear that in mind if you are adjusting any alarms on this watch. So the hours are flashing, so I want to go up to what would be 7 in the morning, and if I went a bit ahead, I can easily go backwards by using the top button. So top button will allow you to go backwards, and forward button will allow you to go forward. And if I want to do it for the minutes, I just press that button there just to advance it onto the minutes. So I want to do it for 7:30 in the morning, and if you long press it, it will start to accelerate through what would be the minute value, but I want to get it to 30. And again, if I went over, I can just easily go back on this watch. It's very simple. And that is the alarm set for what would be 7:30 in the morning. But again, as I've shown you, if I want to just turn it off, I don't want it to go off at 7:30, I just press the top left-hand button. As you can see, it says off, and there is no alarm highlighted there. Now, if I want to turn the ALE signal on, I can easily scroll through to where it says SIG, and again, as I've shown you earlier, you just press the top left hand button, and now the ALE signal is on, and that means that the watch will sound on the hour every hour. Again, if I want to turn it off, I can easily do so the watch won't sound on the hour every hour. And that's really how you set the alarm. So you can just easily cycle through the alarms just to see which ones are on or off, hourly signal as well. And you can easily turn them on and off as I've shown you here. And that really is the alarms in a nutshell, and the whole watch really. Now if there's anything I've missed for this tutorial, you can click on the link I've got to in the description box below. And again, this is time coded, so you can always go back via the time codes just to see whatever part of the watch you want to understand more about. But I hope this video has been of some help to you, and if it has, then please give it a thumbs up and a super thanks as well. If, you know, by all means, if you want to contribute to the channel, it will help us invest in more watches and obviously bring to you more tutorials. But thank you for watching this video, and we hope it was of some help, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Goodbye.